Z community cuties, what are you guys saying? I know this video title kind of seems like, wait, what? This makes absolutely no sense. And before we actually start it, I just want to give you guys a disclaimer. Number one, I am not trying to sound like a total douchebag with this. I'm just trying to highlight the importance of this topic essentially, and just because I kind of see that there's a common theme with people just wanting to quit work and start businesses, start making multi-million dollars, all these types of things being thrown around at you. And I really just want to highlight how you can really make the best and take advantage of where you're working right now. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Alright, so kind of just to give you guys a little bit of context of how I came about making this video. Just a couple of months back, I spent 4 months in Egypt all by myself, just really focusing on what mattered most. Scaling up the investing operations, also trying to scale up the business as well. And it's come to the point now where, now I have passive income that's coming in that basically would cover the job that I'm doing right now with my 9 to 5. Now, why did I even start to look for a 9 to 5 if I know that this is the case? Well, because my TFSA isn't going to max out itself. I'm just joking. No, there's actually a lot of reason as to why I'm still kind of at this 9 to 5 type of thing. And I think the main theme is more learning, because believe it or not, when it comes down to like the 9 to 5, there's a lot of things that you could really learn about yourself to improve yourself, like on an individual level, on a personal level, and also on a professional level. And these are things that can really trickle down into whatever you got going, whether those are side hustles, investments, capital allocations, you name it, it could really benefit you in the long term. And I kind of wanted to walk you guys through this process as to what things I've been learning so far from this 9 to 5, just to kind of remove the stigma from it because of all of this BS that's kind of going around on social media. So kind of to give you the brief overview of what advantages you can learn from your 9 to 5, I would have to say number one would be work ethic. Number two, dealing with time frames and timelines. I would also say accountability, so holding yourself accountable for where you're at in life, basically. And then the last two I would have to say is the actual balance, finding that balance that really works for you and attaining that moderation. And last but not least is the challenge itself. Now, I think the first thing that we could really touch upon is work ethic. Now, when it comes down to work ethic, and a lot of people can testify, especially if you're working from home, you're getting tasks thrown at you on a daily basis. And some of these tasks can be due at the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month. It all depends. And at the end of the day, in order to get these tasks finished, you need to have strong work ethic, especially when you got nobody kind of behind your back, always kind of, checking up on you to see how things are going. You need to make sure that that strong work ethic is going to get you towards finishing that certain task or that certain goal. And I really feel like taking that and improving and sharpening that work ethic, you could eventually trickle that down into whatever side hustle or whatever endeavors that you are taking aside from this 9 to 5, and really start implementing the work ethic and putting it towards there. Another thing that you could really learn from working your 9 to 5 are dealing with time frames and timelines. Now, when it comes down to this, with every single department of your life, it comes with a timeline and a time frame. Whether you're trying to get super healthy, you're just trying to go to the gym all the time, you want to get to a specific weight, or you want to even get your net worth to like a specific goal. Now, with each and every single task or goal that comes along with a time frame or a timeline, you need to make sure that you build yourself some sort of plan as to how you're going to get to that specific goal or whatever your endeavors kind of revolve around. And to kind of tie it back with finances, let's just say that you're trading options and your goal is to get 1% every single month. Now, what's your plan to achieve this by the end of the month? Are you planning to look into, stocks within the US? Are you planning to trade commodities, futures? Like, what are you planning to do? And you need to make sure that you got that timeline. Even scaling it down on a daily level, there's this law, it's called Parkinson's law, and I feel like this really kind of speaks to me. It's, working within very specific time frames in order to get work done faster. And I think a perfect example of this is literally this YouTube video that I'm recording right now. For example, if I have the idea and I have the time frame that I want to get this video out for you guys by Monday, I need to make sure that I'm going back to the drawing board at Wednesday. What's my goal? I'm planning to, make some pointers of how I'm going to deliver value for you guys. Thursday comes along, I'm like, okay, now it's time for me to actually record this video for you. Friday all the way till Sunday, editing, creating content on Instagram, which you should follow that account, by the way, Aziz Finance. You'll probably see it on the screen somewhere. And then kind of just putting everything all together in order to make sure that I'm meeting this specific time frame or deadline essentially. And as you guys can probably already tell right now, if there's no video on Monday, guys, allow me, I'm still trying to practice. Another huge lesson that I've kind of been learning from this 9 to 5 so far is really just holding yourself accountable. Because at the end of the day, working within a huge company or even just a company overall, you need to realize that you're one person, a part of a whole entire system. And no matter what your perspective is of, oh, I'm still at the bottom of the pyramid, whatever, that doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, if you end up not doing your part and the other person doesn't end up doing their part, the entire system falls. And that's where accountability kind of really comes in, I believe, is you need to make sure that you're doing your part. And if you don't do your part, you need to hold yourself accountable and you need to be responsible for that. And I feel like this really spills in with like your side hustles or whatever your other ventures are, because at the end of the day, you'll realize that everything is your fault. You won't be pointing fingers at anybody, because at the end of the day, you'll realize that I didn't achieve this certain goal because I didn't do X, Y, Z. Not because I didn't achieve this certain goal because X did this and X did that. No, it's all on you. And I feel like that's probably one of the biggest lessons that this 9 to 5 has taught me so far. And it's definitely something I'm going to be implementing within the rest of my journey, essentially. Another thing that I've actually been finding this 9 to 5 has been teaching me is finding the balance that works for you and prioritization. And what I mean by this is, throughout the day, you have a bunch of different tasks. Each and every single task isn't kind of valued at the same importance or the same urgency. So you kind of have to do a little bit more brainstorming. For example, you kind of see one task where it's like, oh my God, I have to follow up with a customer, versus another task which is like, oh, I just got this email from HR. At the end of the day, that's where the priorities and the balances kind of come out. You're gonna have to place a higher priority on following up with the customer before you get to that HR email. And I feel like kind of prioritizing and finding that balance is really gonna help you a lot with the other endeavors or even future side hustles that you got upcoming. And I kind of feel like a perfect example of something that's kind of happened to me recently where I've had to apply this balance and prioritization was looking at my emergency fund and then looking at the credit card balance that I had. So the emergency fund just had a couple of $100s left until it was complete. But then I saw my credit card and that had a couple of $100s that need to be paid off. So coming back to the prioritization, it's like, well, if I just fill up my emergency fund right now, I'll be blessed until, whatever, next week or the next 2 weeks. But if I keep this credit card without paying it off, then it's gonna ruin my credit score. Even if it's like a little point difference, it still makes a difference because it'll factor in and it'll just cause an entire scene. So in that type of situation, I decided to just pay off the credit card. And then I'm like, you know what? I'll wait until next week or the next 2 weeks in order to fill up the emergency fund. And last but not least, hands down, the biggest lesson that I actually love and what keeps me going is the challenge. Now, I'm a firm believer in the fact where, actually, no, you know what? My friend gave me a solid quote about this. It was crazy. He literally just gave it to me the other day. I gotta read this shit out for you guys. Boom. Elevation requires separation. Wait, does that even apply? No, it actually doesn't apply. But yo, if you're watching this, you just got a free plug still. Anyways, no. The quote is, in order to actually see growth, you need to put yourself in an uncomfortable place, because comfort does not breed growth. And I'm pretty sure that was like a solid combination of a bunch of different quotes, but you guys know what I mean. And I personally believe that if you are a firm believer in this principle as well, where you need to be uncomfortable in order to find growth, I feel like you will go huge strides in life. I feel like there are two perfect examples of this. I'll give you guys one kind of personal example and then another financial example. The first personal level would probably be, working out essentially. What I do is I personally have a little journal and I'll write down for each and every single, chest day, back day, biceps, triceps, whatever. And I'll write down how many reps and how many sets, and along with what is the weight that I am using. Now, on a daily basis or a weekly basis, depending on like the body part, I will look at how many reps I did last week, and then I'll kind of have a little challenge section. So for example, if I did 8 reps last week, I'm gonna be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna challenge myself. I'm gonna try to do 12 reps or 10 reps, whatever the case is. And depending on whether or not I hit those reps, then that's where I'm like, okay, you know what? This is not my new height. If I don't hit those reps, then I'll just try again the next week. Perfect example of like challenging yourself. And on a financial level, it's like, okay, well, hey, I made X amount this month. How can I kind of push this up a little bit further and make an extra X amount per month? And I'll kind of challenge myself in that department. You know, look at what I did before, multiply what worked, you know, cut out what didn't work, and challenge myself in that aspect as well. Now, I know probably a lot of you are thinking after all this, okay, well, Tamer, how long are you going to be working on it in a 9 to 5? Well, it really depends on 2 things. Number one, I'm waiting until all my other ventures have literally been 10x'd, if not 20x'd, because I feel like it'll really give me that safety cushion, because when it comes down to the shit that I'm doing right now, it's like 1 month you can be all the way up here, and then the other month you could be all the way down there. So I'm really trying to get to like a sort of safety cushion where it's like, okay, whether I'm here or whether I'm there, I'm still gonna be blessed. You know what I mean? So that's gonna be one of them. And the second one, even if this 10x or 20x goal has been achieved, I am still going to be in my 9 to 5 until I feel that there is no more to learn. And this is gonna be kind of tough for me because I'm always kind of putting myself challenges and whatnot, but you know what? To every beginning there is an end, and I feel like that end won't happen anytime soon, but I gotta enjoy the ride, and I'm pretty sure I want you guys to enjoy that ride as well. Now, question of the week, Z community, you guys know I love asking for your opinions. What are your thoughts on the 9 to 5 culture? Literally tell me what you guys think. Like, are you guys trying to quit ASAP? Do you still want to stay working for a couple of more years? Or honestly, just let me know. Let's have a solid conversation in the comment section down below. And you know what, guys? Thank you for tuning in. This is me, Tamer Aziz, signing out. Peace.